Very good evening, sir. Very happy to have you with us today. And the students, if you can keep your videos on until we finish the presentation, the talk, I mean, it will be very helpful. I'll just take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience, to our students. Good evening, everyone. I am Professor Vandana. I'm from the School of Basic Sciences, Department of English, Jain Dean to the University. In this week's Industry Connect session, we have with us Mr. Lakshmi Kiran, who is a cybersecurity consultant with the TCS and has over 10 years of experience in the cybersecurity domain. He has also been awarded as one among the top 5 best ethical hackers in the Tata Consultancy Services. Apart from this, he's also a very active speaker and a trainer for null security chapter meetings. Besides, he's also an active navigator in the iFocus mission, which is a socio-professional cultural network. We look forward to a very informative session with you, sir. I will hand over the session to you to carry it forward.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much for a quick and good introduction.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. So, yeah, shall we start?
Yes, sir, we can start.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. So hope you are seeing my screen, right?
Yes, sir, the screen is visible.
Yep. So how are you all? So how was the day? So how's going your industry connect sessions for the last couple of days, if I'm not wrong? I would like to hear from you guys. Like you are very privileged to get these opportunities to connect industry peoples. Like when I heard Dr. Ram from AI Tech Park and Jitender from Mails, so they asked us to, you have to give a session on cybersecurity to the young missiles of next generation of IT students. Then I got how privileged you guys has, right? When I remember my college days, when we are in college, it's a nightmare to us to connect an industry person to get a real-time experience. So I would like to hear from you. How are you all, and how's your industry connect sessions? Yes, any one of you. So be interactive, okay? So you need to habitate the habit of asking, interacting, okay? So the current trend change, like whoever speaks, they rule the world. Yes, please. So how are you? Yes, no?
Students, one of you can probably respond.
So silence means obviously yes, sir. Okay, fine, fair enough. So, yep. So without delaying our time, we'll start today's a wonderful topic. So attacks on components of IoT systems and cybersecurity technologies. So I would like to understand before I start the session, what are the different topics that covered these many days? It would be great if you help us to understand, so that we'll collaborate the topics in my session as well, so that it will help the students to recap and all of this stuff. I heard few topics related to AI, artificial intelligence, and few topics related to cybersecurity. Correct if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir, it is. We have a few topics pertaining to AI ML and some pertaining to cybersecurity.
Oh, great. Yep, we'll start. So I think ma'am already explains, give a brief intro about me. Okay, so the agenda for the next 1 hour, we'll start with the fourth industrial revolution, how currently the trend is going to the industry, and what is IoT. So what are the different applications rely on IoT, and what are the different architecture components of IoT, And coming to the security part, what you are seeing my background, cyber security, right? So OWASP, top 10 IoT attacks, vulnerabilities and attack surfaces. What are their uh, attack statistics and trends in the current market of IoT attacks, and big picture of cyber security technologies. So this is the high level agenda for the next 1 hour. So I would like the session to be an interactive. So I would like to pass at any point of time. You may shoot any sort of questions that you have. Okay. So we'll start with very basic. I used to present this particular slide as I am working for the particular organization. So this disclaimer, the session which I'm going to share today is, it's all about an educational purpose, like a share knowledge and gain knowledge. So all the content which published in this particular presentation is openly available in internet, not related to any of the employee organizations and the committee. Okay. Yeah, so we'll start with, as I told you, the first topic is industry revolution, the fourth industry revolution. Yeah, I would like to hear how many of you heard this particular term industry, the fourth revolution of industry. And right, so if you add something, that if you tell something, then I will add upon that, so that it will helpful to you to understand long run. So yeah, any one of you. So the session goes like that. Okay, I keep on ask questions. You need to interact. So I don't want to be a session like one way. Okay. So any one of you just tell what you know about this. Then I will add upon that, so that it will helpful to you to remember. Okay. So you heard of this term? Yes, no. If not, then I will continue. If yes, then what you know about that, so that I will add upon that. Yes, please. So be interactive. Okay.
I think there is something on the chat box. I want to check.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Good. So see, like where I can start. Okay, I can start with industry 4.0. So if you go 200 years before, right, the complete industry, right, like plant construction, right, steam engines. So these are about the industries. There is no particular industry sort of things. Where industry 1.0 is mainly, especially work on that mechanism of steam water, steam engines, and all sort of things, where they will generate the income, where they will generate an revenue sort of thing. When you come to industry 2.0, the mass production of electrical goods components will come into the picture. So they used to invent the vehicles, and the market strategy will increase by industry 2.0. And coming to industry 3.0, that the enhancement of the market will combination of electronics and IT infrastructure, and then automation stuff, right? And coming to industry 4.0 is what you call the connection between a physical, okay, digital and biological worlds all together. So currently, as we are in industry 4.0, we all know how rapid the industry is growing, far faster than any other. So industry 4.0, industry fourth revolution industry, what you call industry 4.0 is integrating, as a if you see the wording in my screen, right, physical and digital biological words. So what all these physical and digital and biological words, right? So hope you are seeing my screen, right? So I don't want to explain how technology will grow these days. So as we are here to discuss few things related to IoT, right? So the technology related industry 4.0 is interconnected with a smart agriculture. So the agriculture industry is moved to an involvement of technology into the particular field, smart agriculture, automation, augmented reality, right? So robotics, cloud computing, system integration, cyber security, big data, artificial intelligence, whatnot, anything. So anything and anything which is interrelated with technology, working together in a technology, that's what Industry 4.0. So guys, uh, the coming future skill set relies on Industry 4.0 technologies. What you are seeing in my screen. Okay, so now for the next 1 hour, we are going to discuss this particular two streams, IoT and how cybersecurity is interrelated with each other to these days. Okay, so we talk few about IoT. So hope everyone knows what is IoT. So IoT is one of the latest technologies ruling the world, what you call Internet of Things. As I told, so Internet of Things is a combination of network devices, okay, and electronic embedded softwares and network connectivity, either implemented by software to exchange the data between them. So around 50 billion devices may be connected by internet by 2030. And the industry, the revenue growth in the market strategy of IoT will grow like 1.9 trillion to 7.1 trillion by 2020. So this is the market strategy of IoT is all about. Okay, so we'll so you may stop at any time. Okay, if you have any sort of a doubt or maybe a silly doubt, you can stop. So now move on. What are the different where we use IoT? Okay, so we heard IoT is the latest technology, right? Maybe coming futures may right, all the technology is interlinked with IoT and all. So what are the different applications we use IoT? So as I told you, right? So technology, where the technology goes, whatever the field it is about, whether it is agriculture, it's whether it is embedded systems or a smart cities, smart homes, smart vehicles, right? So every day, everything get connected each other for the better tomorrow, right? If you see some fantastic movies where a complete automated cars or automated houses, all these are reality, right? Maybe in after down the 10 years, maybe that IoT is make us habitual for all of us, in even for India as well, right? This is what we are presently experiencing in the world. So these are the different applications, right, where IoT is currently using around the world. Okay. Yeah. So why that much significance of IoT in the current industry, current market? So the reason is very simple. So we have so many devices, right? So any devices which is interlinked with anybody and anywhere in the world, with any sort of business, with any sort of network at any point of time. So that is the main significance why this Internet of Things, IoT, is a key buzzword that ruling the market, ruling the industry, maybe going forward down the line 10 to 15 years. The reason is the communication between any device, anywhere, right? Any network, any business you can implement it, you can get in success. There is the significance of IoT in the current market. Okay. Yep. So we'll go some deep. What are the how the architecture of IoT and what are the major components rely on IoT? We'll discuss. Okay. So as I told you, right, IoT is a combination of few components like a thing or a device. Okay, maybe a smartphone or maybe an IoT component or anything. A device, maybe an vehicle or a sensor or a mobile, whatnot. It has to be a connectivity between cloud by using any of the interfaces of connectivity, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, anything, any sort of connectivity, right? So it is to connect by a gateway of any connectivity by using the cloud. So you heard of cloud computing, right? AWS cloud or Google cloud or Azure cloud. Okay. So REST API, right? So there are different technologies or development methods they used to do, right? So REST APIs, they use different protocols. They, right? So by using these protocols, they uploaded the code in the cloud. They use some storage mechanism. They use some search engines, such rules to protect the data, to store the data. Okay. After that, they use some uh, graphical presentation analyst, like what you say, big data, or to analyze the data, to represent the data. And again, it will goes to the user interface either by mobile or any device. So this is the basic major components of IoT, right? So I will pause here. We'll take 1 minute of time if you have any more questions to understand this IoT and basics. As we discussed, right? So these are the different connectivities, Bluetooth, right? Wi-Fi and all of the stuff. And we have some different gateways where we use sensors, LEDs, gateways, chips to connect. And there is some analyst data to understand the data. And there is a good user interfaces. So IoT is all about a device which interconnected with a cloud. In between, they use some interface as a network, and it use any particular interface or mobile or web or anything. So these are all about very basic understanding of IoT. So we'll pause here. We'll if you have any questions, we'll take it. Okay, we'll see on chart. Okay, fine. So next we talk about security. So attacks. What are the different attacks related to IoT and all those stuff? So yeah, we'll start with the yeah. So OWASP is an open web application security project. It is a global standard where all sort of security attacks, security vulnerabilities. How many of you heard the term vulnerability? I think you a few of them are already cybersecurity students, right? You may heard the term vulnerability, attacks, all these terms, correct? Yes, no? Okay. So yeah, I would like to explain in a basic use case level of attacks and vulnerabilities in IoT. Okay, so here, hope you're seeing my screen with listed top 10 attacks, top 10 possibilities of vulnerabilities of any IoT device or any application or anything. Okay, so these are the different possibilities where attacks are possible. So you have let me go through one by one. Okay, so weak, guessable, and hard coded passwords. So I will give a use case, right? So if you are using weak password, or if you are using a guessable password, or if you are using a hard coded password in application, right? So is it possible to be a victim of an attack if you are using weak password? Yes, no? Let's say if you use a password like password or admin123, so these are very guessable passwords, right? So if the application or any device uses weak and guessable passwords, there is a possibility of attack, correct? Yes, no? Yes. So, and another use case, if an IoT device using an insecure network service, means they are using very network service with old version, old network, right? Old network services. So that is also one of the possibility of an attack of IoT. So insecure ecosystem interfaces. Let's say if they are using, if they are not using well executed and well updated interfaces like mobile is one of the interfaces, web version is one of the interfaces. Like let's say facebook.com, it has a web version, it has a mobile version, correct? Yes or no? Right? So every interface has, every application has different interfaces. So each and particular interface need to be secure one. So, and another use case, lack of secure update mechanism. Let's say, I think how many of you, right? We usually get the updates, right? Microsoft updates in on my missions, or even mobile also. They used to send some new versions, right? So new updates. So let's say if you are not updating your components, let's say if you are not updating your Windows, or you are not updating your missions, right? So if you are using older versions, there is a possibility of attack, correct? So what I'm trying to explain different ways of possibilities of attacks on an IoT device, right? So the fifth one, if you use insecure and outdated components, so there is a possibility of attack. Okay. So if you are not protecting your privacy data, let's say all your credit card information or your personal information is not properly protected, or your data transfer and storage is not, like how many of you heard the term encryption in your academics, right? So they use different encryption algorithms, right? If they use weak encryption algorithms, there is a possibility of data can be theft. And the lack of device management means they need to use strong passwords and all of that stuff. Insecure default settings, right? If the application use default settings like default passwords, default configuration, there is a possibility of vulnerabilities and attacks. And a lack of physical hardening. So these are the different general scenarios or use cases where real-time IoT devices are to be prone to be attacked. So I will pause here for 1 minute. We'll take any sort of doubts and queries for this particular thing. Yes. Understood? Yes, no? So I open the chat box. Right? So, yes. Yep. So I will go little deep on each of the top 10 vulnerabilities, okay, so that you will get fair idea, right? So how are the real-time vulnerabilities or real-time attacks used to happen on IoT devices, right? So these are the different use cases. Let's say if you pick any real-time IoT device, right? That device has an user interface. The device, the data resides in the cloud. So there is a possibility of cloud vulnerabilities. If the IoT device has a mobile version, there is a possibility of mobile related vulnerabilities. If the IoT device has a web interface, right, web related vulnerabilities. If IoT device, we need to check in device level vulnerabilities. If a device connected with a network, we need to check the network related vulnerabilities. So as I told you, right, IoT is a combination of device, network, cloud, web, or mobile. Right? So if we think an attacker perspective in all these 5 components, so IoT will be protected. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So as I told you, right, so I will go little a bit more understanding of each top 10 OWASP top 10 attacks on IoTs. Okay. Yep. So the weak server side control. So I think all you guys are computer background students. Hope you heard, right? So web application, any application, either PHP or Java, .NET, any framework, any front end development or any back end development, right? Application developers use their own web interfaces, their own APIs to develop an application. As I told you, right, API has a web interface. So all the application communications through APIs must be secure to protect from web application based vulnerabilities. I think there is a separate topic like there is attack like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, right? So few of the attacks related to or vulnerabilities related to web application. So if you want to perform, if you want to protect an IoT device, or if you want to attack an IoT device, you need to make this particular weak server side controls. We need to check how the controls are there in server side, whether they are weak or whether they are protected. And insecure data storage. So as I told you, right? So I think let's say any application. Let's say you log in an application with username and password. Your username and password must be stored in somewhere in database, or somewhere in log file, or somewhere in configuration file, right? So the protected, the secure data is not protected. Let's say, as I told you, right, they are not using a strong encryption algorithms. They are storing your passwords as a plain text. Let's say Kiran is my username and the password is Kiran@123. They simply store my password as a plain text. Somehow my database got hacked. The hacker may get the passwords present in that table. So they have to protect the data which is stored in database. That is what we called insecure data storage, right? And insufficient transport layer protection. Let's say if I entered my username and password, right? So if the application is not protected with HTTPS connection, right? The password that I entered is in plain text, so there is a possibility of attacks. That's what we call insufficient transport layer protection. So they need to use strong HTTPS encryption protected websites to protect, or a mobile or anything. That's called insufficient transport layer protection. Okay, so these are the different standard vulnerabilities or loopholes for IoT devices. Okay, and unintended data leak. So as I told you, right, let's say you may heard different news, like particular company data got published in dark web, right? All the credit card details are hacked by hacker groups. All, so if they are not protecting all the sensitive data, what you say, all the PIA data, personal information data, like all the username, passwords, credit card information, whatever the damn sensitive information resides in an app or an IoT or any device, if they are not, if they are leaking that information with either physical access or a vulnerable app, right, our data will leak. Okay. And another one is poor authentication and authorization. I think you guys have heard of these terminologies. What is authentication? What is authorization? So any one of you tell what is authentication and what is authorization? Authentication and authorization. Yes. No. Fine. Right. So you guys have their username and password to access this Zoom link. That's what you call authentication. Like I have authorized to present this session, means they gave me the host or co-host other, right, co-host permission, co-host access to present the screen. That's called authorization. So I'm authorized to share the screen, but you are not authorized to share the screen. Means you don't have access or you don't have rights to share your screen, but you have access to log in this Zoom meeting. That's called authentication. Means you need to provide some username and password, or you need to access with specific link. Correct. So if this authentication and authorization implementation is not properly implemented, there is a pawn to security attacks. Okay. And the broken cryptography, as I told you, right, they need to use strong encryption and decryption algorithms to protect all the sensitive data. That's all the username, passwords, credit card information, whatever the sensitive data that resides in an app or a mobile, right? They need to protect it. Yep. And as I told you, right, there are some client side injections. Like as I told, there is a specific attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, right? Which take compromise of all their whole database and they do some unauthorized access to down then application or not. So applications are protected with this type of attacks, right? So they need to protect all the means they need to implement a secure coding to all the inputs must be encrypted or must be validation. They need to implement proper input validation and all of the stuff. And all the sessions, like if you enter with username and password, server will generate one session. So they need to implement a proper session management controls, right? They need to generate a proper cookie value and all of the stuff. So these are the different scenarios where there is a lot what you call vulnerabilities to prawn any IoT device to the hackers. And if it is a mobile app, there is a binary protection, right? Every mobile app has their own source code that not to be reverse. They heard of reverse engineering. They used to do decompiling all stuff, right? If the application, if the mobile application, the binary is not protected, right? There is a possibility to reverse that app and make that binary. So these are all about different, as I told you, right? Top 10 global OWASP Open Web Application Security Project, top 10 critical IoT vulnerabilities, right? For any device, for any IoT device. So attackers will perform attack on these scenarios. So I try to and explain you what are the different attacking scenarios or what are the different defensive approaches we need to implement to attack an IoT device or a protect from an IoT device. Okay. So as I told you, right, every IoT device starts with an hardware, a device. Every device has its own firmware that used to connect with the network by using IoT gateway, by using different wireless communications like Wi-Fi something, and they need to interact with the cloud. Okay, the data will transfer through APS by mobile app or any IoT device. So this is the overall what you say attack patterns or IoT related attacks in the real-time IoT attacks as possible. Okay. Yep. Fine. So so this particular slide I presented to make significance of IoT attacks statistics and trends, right? You heard of different hacking news like these many attacks are possible, new ransomwares, new malwares are coming, right? Even not only application, not only network, will come into IoT, right? 33% of new malwares has spreaded on IoTs. 33% of malwares on IoTs. Either it may be a ransomware, it may be a war, it may be a Trojan, or it may be botnet or anything. At the same time, 41 different sort of 41% of exploits are possibly exploitable in IoT devices, either by remote scanning or remote code execution, SQL injection or 0 days, what anything. And 26% of user practices type of attacks like phishing attack, right? Weak password related attacks, crypto mining related attacks are possible. So this is the stats where IoT is prone on the current code. Okay, and few interesting stats I would like to present you, like how we conscious about IoT devices. Why? Because as I told you, down the line 10 years, right? Hope like the new construction of buildings will come up with smart buildings. Like all the electricity works will come up with a default smart houses, right? So if you want to turn off ideally how you use turn off by remote, there is a mobile app where you may control everything through that app in your home. If you want to turn off door lock, whatnot, anything. So what you guys are, what we are watching on movies, it may be real through IoT. Yeah. So as I told you, right, 57% of all the IoT devices are vulnerable to high and medium severity attacks, and 41% of attacks are exploitable on IoT devices vulnerabilities. At the same time, 98% of all the IoT device traffics are unencrypted, means they are not properly implemented the strong encryption algorithms. And 51% of threats related to healthcare organizations, right, involving the, imaging devices and all of this stuff. At the same time, 72% of healthcare VLAN IoT devices, IoT assets are spreaded with malwares. So these are the latest stats where IoT attacks and threats around the world. Okay, so as you guys are grown up down the line, so you, as you are in the field of, as you are learning in cybersecurity, right? So cybersecurity is the field where you can pop up with each and every technology around the market. Okay, so it's all about IoT and IoT attacks. Okay, and IoT vulnerabilities and what are the different components of IoTs and all other stuff. Yep, understood. Any questions as of now, so that we'll move to next topic and very interesting topic of cybersecurity. Yes, shall we go? Okay, fine. Yeah, so the next interesting topic that we would like to cover, I try to give a brief understanding about what is cybersecurity technology is all about. So as I am working 10 years in cybersecurity domain, right? So I would like to help you to give an industry view how cybersecurity job roles are all about, and how an industry uses the technology of cybersecurity. Okay, so I would like to give a very high big picture of cybersecurity to all you guys. Okay, so if you take any organization has their own infrastructure, correct? They have their own network, they have their own websites, they have their own infrastructure, they have their own systems, right? So you name it any damn term, you can add security at the end. That's what we call cyber security. You name it any term, you name it network. So there is a separate team who will take care of security. That's called network security. They have their own networking team where will manage all the servers, all the firewalls, all the routers as an admin level. But whereas cyber security team will take care of their security perspective. They can think like an hackers. They can think like a simple funda. If you want to catch the thief, you can think like a thief. Until unless you can think like a thief, you can catch the thief. So all the ethical hackers, all the security professionals who are working in organizations, they can think as a hacker's perspective, and they will protect the organization from them. So likewise, there are the different teams, right? Network security team will take care of all the security aspects of network, and data security team will take care of all the encryption, data leak preventions, or all the stuff, all the security perspective they will take. And infrastructure security team, all the email securities, DNS securities, log securities, all the stuff. And system security team will take care of all the missions, Windows servers, Linux servers, or the servers are using the latest versions, or they're using the old versions or not. They do upgrades and all the stuff. And application security team, as the company has their own applications, they used to do all the OWSP attacks, right? If the application is there is a possibility of an attacks on application, they recommend the development teams to implement the secure coding, right? Same thing, mobile security team, right? All the applications, all the mobile devices, all the mobile apps developed by the organization. And there is a separate team to protect advanced threat protection, right? Is there any malware security team, endpoint security team? And there is another security team like risk and governance complaints team. Will it will check is the Is the organization is having security standards or not? So all these are different job profiles, right? So if you know security tools, if you know security and application security, this is one type of job role, this is one job role, this is one job. All these are different industry specific technologies that are using in cybersecurity domain. Okay, so to explain more about to more elaborate. Okay, so every organization has their own critical data, correct? So all the employees data, all the customers data, all the passwords, all the confidential and sensitive information that resides on a mission critical assets. So I hope you're seeing my screen with my cursor, right, showing mission critical assets, right? The particular asset or a sensitive data which is protected by different layers of an organization, right? If the attacker is an outsider, they try to perform attacks on an organization. The cybersecurity team, inside the cybersecurity, as I told you, there are different security teams where the parameter security team will protect from firewall level, firewall related security, all the other stuff. And there is separate network security team will protect. They have their own security tools to protect from the attackers. And every end users and every endpoint device or any machine or any laptop consists of any antivirus solutions to protect. That's called endpoint security team. And every application in an organization will develop application security team to do some security testing, or what you call VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration test, coding. And all that there is specific data security team will protect all the how the data resides in an organization, whether it is secure or not. Okay. Apart from that, there is two specific teams to work on operations, security operations. They used to do 24/7 monitoring all the security alerts, security attacks. Is my organization is protected with any attack, any so SOC operations team. At the same time, there is a use penetration testing team or threat modeling team or governance team, right? So it's all about a very big picture of cybersecurity as an industry perspective. Yep. Thanks everyone. Any questions? We have a short quick Q&A questions. Okay, if you have any more questions, hope how session went and any. Yeah, over to Vandana.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll just wait for 2 to 3 minutes. If the students have questions, feel free to ask or even post it on the chat box. We'll just give them about 2 to 3 minutes, sir. Okay, I believe none. There are no questions that we've received. Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakshmi Kiran. I also, of course, thank my Department of Computer Science Engineering, AI/ML and Cybersecurity, and the Future and Technologies for very religiously conducting and organizing the Industry Connect sessions every Saturday without fail. We are, of course, very grateful to our resource person today, so to you, Lakshmi Kiran sir, for being part of our Industry Connect session today. Thanks are, of course, due to Dr. V. Vivek, who is the head of the Department of Computer Science Engineering in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning and Cybersecurity. And of course, the team of our faculty members for all the support they offer to us. Thank you, all of you students, for participating in the sessions. Before we part, please fill up I have shared a review form. I've shared a Google form. Please ensure to fill this up before you log off for today. It's there on the chat box, I guess. Please remember to fill this up before you leave the session. Thank you, everyone. Have a very happy weekend and good night. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks everyone. As I told you, right, you guys are very much lucky enough to get this opportunity to interact. Well, you guys are engineer, okay, right? So make use of these wonderful sessions conducted by your faculty, especially the one who reaches to us, Dr. Ram from AI Tech Park and Jitendra from Males Institute. They're spending a lot time to get peoples from industry and help the students, right, to get useful and insights. Like, see, that's a everyone know, right? There is a huge gap between the student skill and industry skill. So, especially the programs like Industry Connect will definitely use the students to bridge that gap. Okay. Once again, I would congratulate your faculty members take the step forward to connect to students to industry.
Of course, sir. Thank you very much. Students, I'm reminding you again on the survey form, please make sure to fill this before you leave this.